Hey, WokeNFree Nation, Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science, to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 237th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week we are doing a WokeNFree review of Love is Blind Season 2. But before we dive deep into the subject, and hint, we did talk about the first season in an earlier episode, so we're up to date. Hope you are too. Have you downloaded this episode on WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app? If not, please do, because if you have the app, then that's how you're able to give comments, and that's how you're able to join the WokeNFree Wednesday conversation, which we really want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts and your perspective on what we share in this episode. So make sure you do that. Now, if for whatever the reason you listen to podcasts on and the device you use and you can't, for some reason get another app, which is deeply confusing. But if you can't for whatever reason, then please go to WokeNFree.com, go on the listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to follow and subscribe to the show at. So we have tons of love on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play. All of our episodes are on SoundCloud. We would love the support on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. There are no excuses. We are even on Newsly. So as KJ lets you know, subscribe today. Make sure you follow, and on WokeNFree.com, click subscribe to follow the show on the Podbean app. Now, on social, you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And if you have 90 seconds, which you do, because we all do, we would love your reviews of the show. So please go to the listen tab on WokeNFree.com, pick the platform of choice where you want to review the show at. I'm kicking it to you now, Khalil.
And I'll take it from here then. Before we start the conversation, we'd like to share a little bit about ourselves. This week we're asking, would you rather work out with kettlebells or free weights?
So I'm going to say free weights because kettlebells are hard and the function at how you have to position your body seems awkward, or maybe I'm just awkward. So
wow, really?
Yeah, I go for free weights. How about you?
Well, if you're choosing between one or the other, and you can only have one choice, I think that choice is easy. It's the kettlebell.
Oh, okay.
Because the kettlebell, you can do a full body workout. There's some certain grips you can do that you can't do with just a normal free weight. So the kettlebell's the way to go. And it's cool with kettlebells. You don't have to see which one you get before you choose one. Okay. You can be blind and choosing the bell, actually. Just like we're doing the review on the Love is Blind show.
Nice transition. Not... opposite day.
Good day. It is. And that's why I've got to ask you, what is this show, Love is Blind, all about?
All right. So if folks haven't listened to our first review of the first season, where we talk about Is Love Blind, where we specifically hone in on the experience that we saw when the first season came out. For the second season, just to get people up to date, and as described by Netflix, Nick and Vanessa Lachey host this social experiment where single men and women look for love and get engaged, all before meeting in person. So they engage with each other in these little dating pods, which are super cute, and you cannot see the other person you're talking to. And I would personally add to the definition or the explanation of the show as follows. It is really a modern social experiment designed to force people to better understand themselves when it comes to love, because if you can't see the person, then you have to be more strategic and pragmatic about how you engage and interact with someone else. It teaches you the art of critical questions if you're smart enough to implore them, and then you feel the consequence of not asking critical questions, and then also putting the idea or the concept of is true love a real thing, and putting it to the test. And ultimately, I think that's probably the hardest test that I don't think most couples pass during this experiment, at least from what I've seen on the show.
But in real life, you think most couples pass this then?
No, I think is true love a real thing? That's like a $1 billion type of question in real life. And I think that love, because it takes more to love to have a healthy, long-standing relationship, love is maybe 10% of the equation. I think that's why it's really hard, because there's all these other external and internal factors, your own baggage, the people around you, your upbringing, your bias, your beliefs, your things that you shouldn't be thinking that you do think. It takes a lot to sustain your life, much less entertain and have a long life with someone else.
Yeah. I mean, the show, to me, it's a test on, can you fall in love with somebody just based on conversations and not knowing anything really physical about them, and if you're physically compatible.
Yeah.
And then making that leap, will you also marry them?
Yeah.
Because just because you love, or I don't know how these people can love someone after a couple conversations, but for some reason they're able to do that, and then they're able to get married. No, but it's not like love at first sight. It's love at 10th conversation. I don't know. It's an interesting concept.
I don't know. I argue that you can't say you can't love someone after a series of conversations, because I think that depends on your love language, and depending upon what you discuss, absolutely you can fall in love after 3 conversations with someone. Yeah. Depends. If those conversations were 3 hours long each, after 9 hours, that's quite a lot of content and information shared. But yeah, to your point, it usually, like for us, you took a whopping 9 years before we got married.
No, that's married, but that wasn't based on our love. Our love came much sooner than that.
Yes. So I'm glad to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have to explain to you what occurred in our relationship.
Well, so many years have passed, Getting old here.
I guess that's the one way to look at it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, what were your overall thoughts on this second season of the show?
I think the casting choice left a lot to be desired, actually. Woo! I don't think they chose really compatible people, to be honest. I don't know if it was a good selection.
I agree.
And then I believe some people were on there just to build like a social media following as well.
Word.
You could tell because it was actually 15 men and 15 women that were put on the show, and out of that, not even many made it to the marriage stage, right?
Yep.
So that's a telling. And it's not just, I think it's more telling about the casting though than the concept of Love is Blind. Cause you can't just put random people together and expect them to like actually choose each other. Yeah. I think you gotta be a little more selective. I just don't think it was some of the selections were as good as they could have been.
I agree. I think that this season seemed darker than the first season, and mostly because out of the final 6 couples, most of them did not get married, and even the ones who did get married, one of them, I would have argued that did not seem like a sound decision. True. And the couple, what was their name? The black male and black female. Love them.
Jared,
and forget what her name is, but we'll put the link to the show so you have the cast information on there, guys. But what I would say though is because they weren't, the casting seemed off, the stories were really captivating because you were like, wow, this is a train wreck and a half. I mean, at least that's what I was seeing on social media.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty crazy. So, but I didn't realize that. So other people, they didn't agree with the casting either then.
Well, they were upset with one of the casted male characters. His name was Shake. And
they did come after him.
Yeah, because of how he spoke about his match on the show, and it was wild. And then also, with Shayna and her indecisiveness and seemingly trying to kind of break up a happy home with the other couple. So there was some real interesting drama. This seemed very like loosely touching kind of the world of soap opera. Like I felt like some might want to.
It was like that.
Yeah, I mean, because they were love triangle, but like the squares. There were 2 squares that happened on the show, so where 4 people are involved, and that's just like a little bit crazy. Because the problem is when you date multiple people at once, then what happens? You can have multiple feelings for more than one person at once, and then that becomes challenging because you have to ultimately pick one to say yes to marry, and you haven't seen the person and you've only been talking to them for a short amount of time, are you in the best able to make that decision adequately for yourself? And that's what we saw. We saw a breakdown of lack of decision, lack of clarity for themselves, much less each other.
Ayana.
Ayana and Jarrett, right?
Yeah. Those are the
okay, there you go.
That's one of the couples that made it.
Perfect. So then with that, biggest lessons learned from this season.
I will only give 3 of my biggest lessons learned from this season. Okay. Because that's all I can think of. Mm-hmm. Some people can really be fake to your face.
Yeah, KJ agrees.
And that is in reference to Shake and how he treated Deeps, because he was just all up in her face, like, everything is great. You're just, like, so perfect. Great match, love it, but never was honest about what his holdups were. He should have just told her as soon as he thought it. Like but he just kept that and only talked to the producers about it. Yeah. Never telling her right to her face, and was gonna go and still marry her and never telling her this thing. Just wait till she sees the show. Like, that was crazy. He was disrespectful, to be honest.
Absolutely disrespectful.
That was not, like, you can't do that. That's messed up. To being so two-faced to somebody, that's nuts. And then there's a little bit of, I gotta throw a little bit of shade at Shayna too, because she was doing that fake stuff as well with I forgot his name.
Shane, was it?
No, Shayna.
No, Shayna with, but wasn't his name?
The blonde hair.
Yeah, with the,
I don't know what the guy's name was.
What was his name? It wasn't Shayna and Shane or something like that, really? Well, Shane was the name of the guy she did actually like, right?
Did she like him?
Shayna.
Maybe. I forgot the guy's name, but Shayna is the blonde woman.
Shayna and Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, see.
Yeah.
So Kyle, Shayna was just not being forthright with him.
Because she believed that ultimately she couldn't be with someone who wasn't Christian and had a passion for loving God. And even though she discussed that with Kyle, she didn't. It's as if he wanted to move forward and he actually proposed and she said yes. And if she ultimately felt like that was not a reality for her, she should have.
Yeah, even before that, she already knew it. And she tried to admit that, she made a mistake. She shouldn't say yes, but.
Yeah, she admitted that in the reunion episode.
Yeah.
But it seems like she really liked Shane because that was the other guy she was in the pods with. Yeah.
When she said yes and they saw each other, she should have been like, you know what, I actually just like the Shane guy. And then she could admit what she did too, because she went back and had this conversation to say, I really wanted to be with you.
Yeah.
So that, these were 2 people that I thought of as like two-faced.
Okay.
And the second thing I learned is the need for decisiveness. Yeah. And technically, that goes at Shayna again, because if she was more decisive and not so, like, she just jumped to conclusions and threw somebody back, she could have gotten with her guy. And then I guess the same thing for the guy, because he was going between the 2 women. Like
Shane,
Shane was going through, he couldn't decide either, so he needs to be a little more decisive. He would have gotten the one that he should have been with. So I think there's a need for that. And then I guess technically we could look at Jarrett too. Like, at first he didn't make the right decision.
Between
his
Mallory
second decision was correct.
And what was her name again? You said
Ayana.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made the wrong choice at first, and ultimately he chose correctly because he got rejected. So
that's where it comes down to, and I say this all the time with you, which is it's seemingly like men struggle. They want one person, but what they need is a different person, but they don't want to go for that. And even when it's presented to them, like in this type of situation, you still go for your want as opposed to your need, and then you have a breakdown because that was the second love square, because there was Mallory and Salvador, or Mallory and Sal, and then there was Jared and Ayana and Mallory, right? And so Jared was struggling between Mallory and Ayana, but he needed Ayana, but he wanted Mal. And ultimately, thankfully, it worked out, and I think they will have a happy marriage.
Yeah, that's going to work out. So the last thing is trust your gut.
Yeah.
So when you get that instinct, you got to go with it and say, hey, this isn't going to work. And that's what happened in those couples that they went to the aisle and they said no. Like, the ones that said no, the person trusted their gut and they're like, you know what, I can't do this because I know that this is wrong. Like, I know that there's some issues in this relationship that we might not be able to get over. So let's stop it.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say you definitely got to trust that instinct that you have.
All right. Well, my biggest lessons come down to the following. Vanity is really hard to break as a habit. So, I think that particularly, even though Shayna claimed that with Kyle, it came down to God, I personally don't think she liked how he looked, comparatively to Shane. Yeah. I think she saw him and was like, whoopsies, this was not what I was looking for. And similar with Shake and Deeps. He saw her and he kept saying on and on.
Yeah, he kept going on.
He referenced her. I'm not even going to reiterate what he said because it was so
shameful. Watch the show and see
disrespectful. Yeah. But yeah, it came down to not being attracted to the person and not being able to get past looks. And we've got to be able to get past looks because guess what, guys? We're not always all going to be beautiful.
Wow.
When you're young, that skin feels good, the face and the booty and everything's great. And then things get a little bit, change as life. I think there's beauty in getting older and wiser, and you learn more and you hopefully have more money. And so I think it's a beautiful thing, but you have to really understand what's going on with that. And so that's one thing. Also, people fail to ask critical questions when dating others. I know this personally, but even on the show, you can see.
Well, someone was asking about what they were wearing.
Shane would ask Shayna, "Hey, what are you wearing?" And instead of saying, "Hey, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your investment strategy been so far? What are your thoughts on theology?" Like I told you, if I was in the pod...
You can't ask student loan debt.
Yeah, I would ask student loan debt. Some people were surprised about debt that people had. Like, I would have gone in as if this was an investigation. And I would have made sure that I came out with a plethora of notes. I would have had a yellow notepad. I would have been ready. Like, it would have been on and popping. So, that's what we need to ask, guys. And then also, I mentioned it earlier, marriage takes more than love. So it's really, we're talking about compatibility. We're talking about morals, commonality. You've got to ask questions that lead up to that for you to be able to make that determination if this is someone you can have as a life partner, because it doesn't matter. You can fall in love with anyone. You can fall in love with people of your gender. You can fall in love with people not of your gender, right? But it takes more than love to have a successful relationship. And then similar to you, trust your gut. If your gut tells you want to be with someone, and you know that based on the information you have about this person that you actually can have a life with that person, then do it. If not, move on, because again, there's a reason.
For the season?
Correct, exactly. And some people are in your life for a season. They are not here for the full story.
Okay. Do you think love is truly blind?
Yes and no. So looks are not a requirement for love. Like I said, you can fall in love and be in love with people for their soul, which means that they might exist within many identifiers, and you may have not thought that you could be with someone of a certain identifier. So I don't think it's about that, but I do think that sexual compatibility, physical compatibility is a part of the love equation. So if you sexually require something in a relationship, a long-standing relationship, or from a physical requirement, there's just things that you can't get over because your vanity levels are just too high, and you refuse to break them, then ultimately, no, love won't be truly blind, and you'll say, but, where that booty at, or, where... oh, she's too tall, or she's too short, or he's this and that, so all those, and they're excuses, right? Are those real valid reasons not to be in love with someone? Absolutely not. But that you're choosing that, and life is about choice.
But just how you say, love is not enough, though, right?
Correct.
So that's the thing. Correct. Marriage takes more than that.
It does.
So it doesn't even matter if that's not love. It matters if
that's what you want.
Yeah, if you want what you want, right? That's like...
You do. It just seems sad, though, because it's like kind of like, again, your want versus your need. If you really could have a beautiful life with someone and you're held back because they happen to have a different hair color than you want, or a different body type, or they're 50 pounds over what you usually go for, like, I think that to me is heartbreaking. But... it is what it is. You live and you learn.
You gotta decide. If it's a non-sexual relationship you have, then I think that makes it easy. Then love should be blind. Then it shouldn't matter at all, because you're not having any sort of physical interaction with the person. Then I think it's fine. But if you're having some physical interaction, love itself cannot truly be blind. I mean, it's just, that's just not gonna happen.
Yep.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Dantrell was dating Karima and Shanna for a couple of months. Dantrell decided it was time to propose to the one he felt he truly loved. He was rejected by Shanna and decided to propose to Karima. She said yes, but later that night, he told her he first proposed to another woman. Should Karima reject Dantrell since she was not his first choice?
I wonder where you got the inspiration for this scenario time.
This new scenario that came to me from the ether.
The ether of Love is Blind, season 2.
Is that where that came from? This kind of situation came from that?
Exactly. KJ's laughing because he says, this sounds familiar, Dad. Ultimately, we might never be someone's first choice. I think that we have to get out of our feelings and understand the reality of life, which is sometimes you meet people and sometimes you may want more from that person than that person's willing to give you. And then guess what? Life goes on and you meet someone else and technically, no, that was not your first love. Technically, that was not that first person that you had engagements with, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a beautiful life with that person. So we have to get out of our feelings, look at the logistics of life, which is, it is very likely that we are all someone's second choice. So get over yourself. Yeah. Will you have a good life with them? Yes or no? Then keep it moving.
Yeah, that's really the question at hand. Don't worry about what came before. Where you at right now currently?
Exactly.
That's what counts. Where is your head at now? We always looking at the past, but we got to look forward to the future as well. Come on now.
Yep.
Scenario 2. Ethan has been dating Rosalind for 4 months. He has wanted to meet her family for a while because he is big on family. When he finally met them, they asked if he was a man of faith. He responded that he is a devout atheist. Rosalind's family told her she should stop seeing him immediately. Although Rosalind is not big on religion, should she stop dating Ethan now?
So unless you are an animal in a household, you do not have to obey the decisions of your parents or your family once you become an adult, right? Once you are of legal age and you are making your own decisions and hopefully can afford your own life, then you are not beholden to anyone or anything in this world. So no, a devout atheist, that's hilarious. But, I guess
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's really open for interpretation.
Yeah, I'm not sure it means. This is what he said. I don't know.
Okay. But no, ultimately, they need to do what's best for them, and all family members, if your family member is in a relationship with someone and that person is not harming them, that person's not endangering their life, nor is that person making your family member's life worse, then all you have to do is shut your trap hole, smile, and if someone asks for your opinion or asks for you to weigh in on something, weigh in on it, but otherwise don't weigh in, and even if you do, please be aware that your thoughts are irrelevant. Just putting that out there.
Okay, so family should not decide.
No, you've got to decide who you sleep with and why, and how you build a life with somebody. Nobody else can do that for you.
That's a good point. And yeah, I agree. She doesn't need to stop dating him just because her family said that. She got to decide that for herself. Let's be honest. Don't let your family choose who you're dating, right?
Exactly.
Scenario 3. Beatrice thinks she found love during the pandemic. The person had all the same interests, morals, and goals as her. Once the lockdowns were over, she was finally able to meet the person. Upon meeting, she was instantly repulsed. Should she still date this person, even though she has no physical attraction to them?
I mean, I think you have to really wonder what's happening there. If not even just disappointed, but repulsed, that's the word of choice. Wow.
Yeah, it was extreme.
I mean, my mind is going too many different places here to really process that right now. Wowzers. So I would say, again, you are not required to do anything in life. Again, the only final thing in this world is death. As sad as that sounds, as dark as that sounds, it is. Everything else is optional. You do not need anyone or anything, and you're not beholden to anyone or anything. So if she felt that disturbed at meeting the person, I think that she owes it to herself not to make herself that more uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, like we talked about, it takes more than love to have a long-standing relationship with anyone. Friendship, love, anything. So it is what it is. Keep it moving. Nice to know you, but keep it. Yeah. That season has come to an end.
Yeah. The final.
It's a shame.
That final mark didn't make it, so that's
it. It is what it is.
It was missed. So I think if you feel repulsed by somebody, I don't know how you can end up being with them. Yeah. So I think this is a good time to stop dating, even though like the person checks all the other boxes.
Yeah.
This other box got to be okay. You can't be scared, when you wake up next to this person. Exactly. This is not good. You don't want to be terrified in your own home. You should be safe.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah. That's what everybody wants.
Indeed. So with that, we are at that time again. It is coming to the end of our 237th episode of Woke and Free. Beautiful harmony.
Yes.
Quite the episode discussing and doing a Woke and Free review of Love is Blind Season 2. Glue, what do folks have to do now?
They know what to do. They know to come back next week for the new Woke and Free Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show or submit a topic, we have some guests already lined up for this year. If you haven't already listened, we've had some really cool guests to date. We're looking to have some more. If that's going to be you, you have to hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. And don't forget to check us out on the Newsly app. So that's super exciting. And when it comes to social media, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And all sponsorships or collaboration ideas, hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.